The seven Hermetic Principles and Explanation, as understood by the Hermetic Cauldron. The ancient teachings of Hermeticism are rooted in the legendary figure Hermes Trismegistus. These principles, as outlined in the Kabbalion, form a foundational framework for understanding the universe, the mind, and the subtle forces at play. At the Hermetic Cauldron, we view these principles not as dusty relics of the past, but as timeless tools for transformation, still as powerful and meaningful today as they were centuries ago. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Everything begins in the mind. The universe itself is a mental construct of the all, an infinite, unknowable source. Just as the universe is mind-born, so is our individual experience shaped by our thoughts. Your reality starts in your mind. Change your thoughts and change your world. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. There are repeating patterns throughout creation. The macrocosm, the cosmos, and the microcosm, you, mirror each other. What happens in the heavens is reflected in your life. Look within to understand the outer world, and vice versa. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates. Everything in the universe is in motion, vibrating at its own frequency, including thoughts, emotions, and matter. Energy is always in motion. The energy you emit attracts things, vibrating at a similar level. Choose your vibe wisely. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles. All things have their opposites, love and hate, light and dark, but these are just different degrees of the same thing. Opposites are two sides of the same coin. You can shift from one to the other by changing your perspective or attitude. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows, out and in. All things rise and fall. Life moves in cycles, just like the tides, seasons, and moods. Everything has a rhythm. Life has its ups and downs. When you're at a low, remember that the upswing is coming. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Nothing happens by chance. Every action has a reaction. We live in a web of causes and outcomes. What you put out into the world, thoughts, words, and deeds, come back in some form. Be intentional. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. All things contain both masculine and feminine energies. This is not about physical gender, but about energetic balance. Balance your energies. Cultivate both action and intuition, strength and softness. Why these principles still matter today in a world filled with distractions, confusions, and a search for meaning. The Hermetic Principles offer clarity and grounding. They teach us that the mind is powerful, the universe is patterned, and personal transformation is possible when we align with universal law. At the Hermetic Cauldron, we believe these teachings are not meant to be locked away in mystery schools or ancient scrolls. They're meant to be lived in. How we think, how we speak, how we love, and how we grow.